Today we're making a rhubarb tart. We've got some friends coming over for a barbecue. Rhubarb is in season, so we're going to make this nice home style rhubarb tart. The really important when you make a tart is don't cut corners and buy the pastry. Really, I mean, I've done this for a job for a private chef for the last 15 years, and really important. The pastry makes a huge difference. You buy the pastry, you'll never get the same thing. It's really easy and quick to make. You can just do it in your machine. So get your scales out, put your mixer on top, zero your scales. I always go double flour to butter, and then if I'm going to add almond flour or sugar, I'll just add a little bit of that on top of my regular flour ratio. So you've always got that double flour to fat, and that's going to keep your dough together when you bake it. You also want to do this well in advance. You never make a pastry running up to wanting to bake it. You need to the longer ahead you make it, the more stable it's going to be in the oven. So I would tend to make these hours, if not, like half a day in advance. So I'm going to make this now. I'm going to put it in the fridge. I'm going to take the dog for a walk. I'm going to do a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to come and bake it much later on. So scales are zeroed. I need 300 grams of flour. I've got 150 grams of butter. Put that straight in. I've already measured that out. Here I've got type 55 flour, which is a French pastry flour, but any plain flour will do. So 300 grams of that. A bit more. So 300 grams of flour, 150 of butter. Put it into your mixer. There you go, whiz it until it's dust or sand, sablé, they call it in French. I've got 30 grams of almond flour and 20 grams of sugar, just to make it a little bit more kind of dessert. Give that a little quick spin. It's that mixed. Now, next is, you want just one egg. Go in the chimney, get it on, spinning. One egg, that's going to mix in. You now want half an egg of water. So you take your eggshell, you just put water in it. So your pastry is mixed. You don't want to mix pastry too hard. So I'm going to flatten my pastry into something a bit like this, like a burger patty. And I'm going to put that in the fridge. I'm going to give it 10 minutes to keep it cool, let it come together, and then we're going to roll it out into the shape of our tin. We're going to roll it out into the shape of our tin, and then once we've got it into the shape of our tin, we leave it in the fridge for hours. Like an hour, half an hour is minimum, but I always find that they still rebound a bit if you only leave them that long. So if you can leave it there for 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, half the day, so much the better. But I'm just going to give that a quick chill in the fridge for half an hour. Our pastry's been chilling for about 10 minutes now. Actually, I ended up putting it in the freezer to give it a good blast. And the reason you keep your pastry cool is because butter is solid when it's cold and it's a liquid when it's not. So if you don't keep it cold, you'll just end up with a big wet mess of dough. That's that. Let's give it a pat and flour. Maybe a little bit more. And just roll it out. Actually, don't stick anything to it. So that's why I don't put too much sugar in, because if you put more sugar in, it'll make it really quite crumbly. And I would rather make the filling a little bit sweeter and have an easier dough to work with than a very crumbly dough. It's also the same with doughs that have got very high almond content. They can also be very hard to handle. Just to make things easier on yourself, just a regular flour dough with a bit of almond. And you can measure your tin, see if it's going to fit yet. Not quite. Right. Yeah, really good tool for these sort of things. This palette knife. Also, I like to roll out on an induction because it's very low or very low stick. Let's go along and make sure you've got the whole thing freed off. You don't try and pick it up and have a bit stuck and rip it. It's also the way when it cool, it kind of like handles a bit better. I don't really normally feel the need to grease or line these tins. I find that when it bakes, it goes really hard and just sort of pulls off. Just very carefully pick up your dough, just flop it across. Another good tip when you're making these things, if it's not big enough, never ever stretch it, it'll just bounce in. What you really want to be doing is coming in, being a bit too big, so a bit too big everywhere, that's good, that's what we're after, and go around and push it down a bit. Pushing it down, opposite of stretching it, it's going to help it to hold its shape. Just never stretch. If it's too small, take out, just roll it some more. It's a little push, you're not like squashing it massive and making it ugly. Just push all the way around. Tuck it in. And there you go, I've tucked it all the way, give it like a little push in. And then I'm going to take my same palette knife, I'm just going to sweep it off. And we get a nice flaky edge, and you get that lovely text marker or textbook shape of the tray. There you are, I've pushed it right in, got the shape of the tray, I've kind of rough cut it across. It's all going to flake lovely. We're going to fridge this now for hours. Don't rush it. If you put it in now, it's gonna you won't get the same effect at all. Fridge it several hours, half a day if you can, and then when you come to bake it, it needs to go into a really well preheated oven, 210, 215, 220 to keep an eye on it. And we'll show you the next steps in the next bit of the video. Also, of course, you're not going to throw this away. It's a nice almond pastry. You can kind of like keep this in the freezer, and eventually, you'll end up with enough to do a tart. But also, when you come to bake later, you can do everything well, but you never know quite what's going to happen. And if you were to come to bake later and it was going to crack, you're going to want just like a little bit of this, and you can use just like a bit of glue, stuff it into the crack. So just another good reason to always have like a bit extra. Just hold on to that. So now a few hours later, pastry is nicely chilled from the fridge, and you're going to need to take a fork and just stab it right through, go right around, and that's going to allow the air to move up. You'll still need to keep an eye on it, make sure it doesn't like lift up in any places. If it does, open your oven and stick a fork in it. just to punch any air bubbles you might have. Now my oven's preheated to about 210 degrees Celsius. I'm just going to pop it in for 10-15 minutes just till it's nicely brown around the edges and cooked on the bottom, and then we can pull it out, egg wash it, and then start to fill it. We're 15 minutes later, and pull this out now. It's about where I would like that. It's kind of browned around the edges. You see it's pulled away nicely. It's got the shape of the tin, and it hasn't gone voomp and shrunk and lost its size. So that's a decent pastry case, and that's all because we hit it with the blender. We didn't overwork it. Gave it sort of 10-15 minutes to rest somewhere cold in the fridge. I put it in the freezer to give it an extra chill, just to make sure it's nice and cool because we're coming into summer. And then when we rolled it out as well, we didn't play with it too much. You don't want to play with your pastry. Just roll it out, get it into the shape, and give it a little push in, and that'll mean it keeps its shape. If you stretch, it'll do the opposite. It'll pull in, and you'll get uneven sides and all sorts. That's ready. I'm going to beat an egg with a bit of milk, and in about 10 minutes when that's cooled, I will egg wash it and pop it back in the oven for 5 minutes just to seal the pastry, and then the rhubarb's going to go on, and we're going to put that at a lower temperature and bake that off. To egg wash your tart case, just take an egg, roughly beat that together. That'll do. A little splash of milk. Another bit more beat. And just go around your tart case. Put that all over it. And that's going to help keep that crispy. And give it a bit of colour as it cooks. Once you put our rhubarb or whatever filling you're going to put in, you'd want to egg wash it a bit just to seal it and colour it up. So that's that. I can go back in the oven, and that's just going to need 5-10 minutes just to set that on. Final step is to slice your rhubarb. I quartered it lengthways and then cut into pieces here that are about 4 or 5 centimeters long. A little sprinkle of sugar, some grated ginger, and that just needs to go in a slightly cooler oven, about 160 degrees, for about 20 minutes until the rhubarb's nice and soft. And then just enjoy that with a spoon of creme fraiche, cream, or a little custard, anything like that. Enjoy.